Okay, I'm going to call a meeting to order. The first item that we have to start with is a public hearing. I'll read the notice of public hearing. Please take notice that the Town Board of Town of Cornwall will hold a public hearing on the 11th day of July 2016 at 7 o'clock p.m. at Town Hall, 183 Main Street, Cornwall, New York, on a proposed local law entitled, a local law to amend Town Code Chapter 125 entitled Subdivision of Land, to repeal and revise certain portions of Chapter 125. The local law would amend Town Code Chapter 125 by repealing 125-5 subdivisions M, N, and O in their entirety, and by enacting provisions set forth in the local law to require that performance security be provided to the town by a deposit of funds or an irrevocable letter of credit. A copy of the proposed local law is on file in the office of the town clerk and available for inspection by interested persons during town clerk's business hours. Town Board will, at the above date, time, and place, hear all persons interested in the subject matter hereof. Persons may appear in person or by agent. All written communications addressed to the Board must be received by the Board at or prior to the public hearing by order of the Town Board, Town of Cornwall, Renata McGee, Town Clerk. This is just in reference to, on the security, what our intent is to no longer accept bonds, performance bonds, and that it's why we would go to strictly deposit of funds or an irrevocable letter of credit. I'm going to declare the public hearing open. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this proposed local law? Okay. Anyone wishing to speak? Hearing no one, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
Discussion?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
On item O, does that change, I guess this is to Stephen, does that change the planning board's capacity to have a final opinion on on whoever the construction or the developer is to have a final approval of the improvement that was made?
No, it's not supposed to impact the planning board at all. O says upon completion of all the required public improvements or posting of the required performance. So that's putting in a roadway, putting in water, whatever it is, or posting security for it. And notation to that effect upon the plat by the planning board. Such plat shall be deemed to have final approval of the planning board and shall be signed by the planning board chairman. In other words, the planning board approves the subdivision plat. You can't put in the public improvements until there's approval of it. But there are going to be conditions on your planning board's approval of the subdivision plat, one of which would be, of course, either construction of the public improvements, building the road, or posting a bond for it. So the planning board will have voted, decided that this is the way they want the subdivision to be. Then they have to, the developer has to either build the improvements, the roadway, or post a bond saying it'll be built later on. And it is only after either that road is built or that bond is posted that the planning board chairman can sign the plan. That's all that's saying.
Okay, great.
Okay. The motion is second. Roll call.
Ms. Bunt? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Close the public hearing. I'm going to ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and also stand for a moment of silence as we give thought to the tragic loss of lives that's occurred over the past week in our nation, and hope that peaceful times lie ahead for all our citizens. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have approval of minutes, June 6th, special meeting, June 13th, regular meeting, June 23rd, bid opening, a special meeting. June 29th, special meeting. Is there a motion on the minutes? Is there a second? Discussion, roll call.
Ms. Bunt? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Public comment, agenda items. Anyone wishing to speak on any agenda items this evening? Yes, sir.
I'm Hunter Schlesinger. I'm the locations manager on a film. It's a low-budget feature film shooting in and around the Hudson Valley in the month of August. We're in the process of getting approval to shoot at St. Luke's Cornwall Hospital, and just asking for the possibility of waiving the fees from the town, as we will not be needing any assistance, and all of the filming will take place on private property at the hospital.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to comment? Agenda items? Okay. Before I get into the agenda, I just want a couple things I want to express appreciation for town operations and 4th of July. First of all, the single stream recycling, I really want to commend our staff. At our last regular meeting, it had been in place for about a week, and now it's been a month, and it's been very successful and very well received, and residents are very happy with it, and we're very pleased that our staff was able to put that plan together and implement it the way that they did. So that was very, very good. Sure.
Good advanced information.
Yeah, and we did. We promoted it well, and it was well received. The other is the 4th of July. Want to thank, again, the staff, police department, buildings and grounds, highway, and 4th of July committee for, again, the great event that is put on for the town. Probably attendance was probably around the usual 10,000 people that we get, and it really was a great event. And 2 days prior to that, we did have the dedication of the Sands Ring homestead and the reopening of it, which we were very pleased to be able to do. The building looks beautiful inside and out, and the Friends of the Sands Ring held an open house from 11 to 1 on 4th of July, and we had easily had between 200 and 300 people come through the homestead in that period of time. So it was very exciting, and it's a great historic monument, if you will, right here in the center of town. So we're hoping to build on that going forward with programs and other activities. So it's really been a great several weeks for the town. Item number 1 is a resolution on the secret law for the local law. We had the public hearing on this evening, performance security. Whereas the town board has considered the adoption of a local law entitled Local Law to Amend Town Code Chapter 125 entitled Subdivision of Land to repeal and revise certain portions of Chapter 125. And whereas this is an action subject to SECRA, and whereas the town board as a sole involved agency assumes lead agency status and as such has caused to be prepared a short environmental assessment form. And whereas following due notice, the town board has conducted a public hearing on the proposed local law and heard all persons interested in the subject matter thereof. Now therefore be resolved as follows. 1, that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign the EAF. And 2, that after considering all the information presented to it, including the EAF, the town board determines that the adoption of this local law is an unlisted action and adopts the negative declaration attached hereto. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Bunt? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes. Motion is carried. Second resolution is for adoption of the proposed local law. Whereas the town board has considered the adoption of a local law entitled A Local Law to Amend Town Code Chapter 125 entitled Subdivision of Land to repeal and revise certain portions of Chapter 125. And whereas following due notice, the town board held a public hearing on the proposed local law. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. That the town board does hereby adopt the above local law, which said local law shall be effective upon publication, posting, and filing in the office of the Secretary of State in Albany. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Second? Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Bunt? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. We have a proposal before us on the Eagle Scout project. I don't see the Eagle, the future Eagle Scout here this evening. But I met with the Scout and the commander of the Legion. The Scout project is proposed to be a low-level lighting for the Medal of Honor Memorial. He's been working with an electrician, and I've discussed the project with the electrician. So the Scout project is not to install electrical, but to do all the preparation work to get the project up and running. So he's not here tonight to make his presentation, but what I'd like to do is just have the board authorize the project so that he may be on a timeline based on his Eagle Scout performance. I know he was away in the past week or so, I believe, so whether that's why he's not here this evening. But I'd like the board just to approve the project, and if it's not started or completed by our next town board meeting, I'll have the Scout come and make the presentation, which is always a good experience for someone seeking Eagle Scout. So I'll just ask a motion to authorize the moving forward with the lighting of the Medal of Honor Memorial proposal.
So moved.
Second. Discussion?
Will the electrician be ready to go as soon as he's dug the trenches and all that?
Yes, the electrician is talking to Central Hudson to get whatever paperwork has to be filed, and so it'll, and obviously all certified and everything for it.
And who's the scout?
The Scout is Stephen Costello.
And
Okay.
you saw everything, you saw the whole plan?
So everything, saw the plan, he gave a description of it. He actually had a nice presentation put together for it,
Okay.
and I accepted a few of the pages, but it should be improved, because we put the temporary solar lighting on the flagpole, so this will also light up the flagpole on a permanent basis. Okay, move the second, roll call.
Ms. Bunt? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
And Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion's carried. Next item is on audiovisual permit, request for waiver. We just heard from Hunter with the request that he made to the board. This is for the audiovisual production at the St. Luke's Cornwall Hospital, Cornwall campus. And Steve, is it correct, I mean, based on the fact it's all on private property, not involving the town, it doesn't actually require the permit? think that
Well,
was what-
he has to apply for the permit. You can waive the fees. That's what the law says.
Okay. I would, I mean, we got the permit, and I don't think there are any fees, but I think it's irrelevant. I think we have the application, so just so we can give the approval on it. But I think we have to double check some of that, to be honest with you, because I do believe that if it is all on private property, that I don't think they even have to apply to the town if there's nothing on the public right of way. But you're the attorney, I'm gonna defer to you.
I appreciate that. If you're concerned about it, you can waive the fees subject to them submitting any papers that they might need to,
Yeah, I think, and I think the theory behind that, when we did the local law, if I'm not mistaken, was the fact that if we had a business, for example, that wanted to shoot a commercial on their premises, it doesn't really involve the town. That's why we felt that, we shouldn't be involved. But let's approve the application and, based on the current information, waive the fees, which may not be due anyway.
What about
But we'll
insurance?
see. Well, you always have to provide the insurance. No, we would not be involved, so with the application, it's not gonna, we basically said, if you're doing it on private property, it's not involving the town, it's not something that the town should be really regulating in that sense, so. All right, is there a motion to that effect? You know what the effect is?
Yes, I know the effect.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
We're waiving the fee.
Yes.
Yes, if there are any fees due. Okay. Subject to the attorney reviewing the law. Okay, roll call?
Ms. Bunt? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion's carried. I have a letter from McGoey Hauser Netzel regarding the Town of Cornwall MS4 program annual report. Dear Supervisor Dazzle, the office submitted the MS4 annual report to New York State DEC on behalf of the town of Cornwall on 31 May 2016 to meet the 1 June 2016 deadline. In order to address minimum control measurement 1, public education outreach, please have the annual report posted on the town's website. Electronic version of the report has been included, compact disc accompanying the letter. If you have any questions or need help in the process, please phone our office. That it is on the website, and we're just going to note this for the file that the report has been submitted. Next item is we have an application before us for a public event permit. It's the Rotary Club of West Point, Highland Falls. It's the 4th annual Storm King Run. It just runs a short distance into Cornwall off of 218. They don't require, let's see, Cornwall Police, Fire Departments are notified of the event, but they don't indicate they need any real assistance with it. I think they're going to have to deal with the state, actually, on the closing of 218. So, is there a motion to approve the request for the event? The insurance will be provided.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, do we have a date?
Discussion,
August 21.
August 21, 0700 to 11:30. That's a Sunday. Okay, is there a second? Can we get a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Bunt? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Just to note for the record, we have received the tentative equalization rate for the town from the New York State Department of Taxation Finance Office of Real Property Services, and the tentative equalization rate is 73.52%. As a follow-up to the Beaver Dam Lake Water Corporation issue that the board has discussed in the past, we did write to the Public Service Commission and ask that they extend the period for public comment because a lot of the details came out with this proposed sale of the private water corporation to another private company, and the issues came up about points of access to Beaver Dam Lake, so we felt that would give the residents an opportunity to research more and to be able to comment on it. So the PSC has extended the comment period until September 8th. Along with our recycling program, I asked our superintendent of highways to obtain a price for recycling containers. Not that we're going to purchase them and distribute them, which we did when the program was first set up, I think in 1989. We bought containers, but what I would like to do is have the board authorize, based on the two proposals that they have, the purchase of just 45 containers. It's a 32-gallon container that's meant for recycling, sort of a tall container. It's easier for the residents, easier for our sanitation workers to handle. Just to make them available, that if residents want to come in and buy them from the town at no profit, just whatever it has cost us to purchase them, we'll make them available to the residents that would like to do that. So I have two quotes. One is from TMF Corporation. The 32-gallon container is $15.20 each. And there's another proposal from CEJJ Inc. And their price for the 32-gallon container is $18.25. These are no lids, which we really don't want the lids. They're drilled with holes in the bottom so the water drains out if it's sitting out there in the rainy weather. So just like authorization from the board to purchase the 45 containers from TMF Corporation at $15.20 plus shipping of $190.60 for a total of $874.60 for the bins. So we'll add in whatever the total price is, and that's what we'll charge.
Will be available here at Town Hall.
What I was thinking is it's easier because for highway to handle the money is a little difficult. Where I've seen this in other places, usually the village clerk or town clerk has some containers there and just sells them to the public and collects the money. So we're not gonna have a great influx of people looking to buy them, but it is an option that the residents will have, because we do get calls occasionally about the containers and all. So this is something for a few dollars, they can have something that's designed for recycling.
So they'll be here, not at highway.
They'll be here.
What's the cost of the resident?
Well, $874.60 divided by 45.
All right.
We may round it off so it's an even number of 50 cents or a dollar, but we're not looking to make any money out of it, just make it convenient. Pardon?
Probably 16 and change.
Yeah. Okay.
I need a motion.
There's a second
Second.
discussion, roll call.
Ms. Bunt? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion's carried. Resolution on the farmer's market, request has come from the farmer's market manager that we offer the vendors a 10% discount for payment of fees in full for the season. So apparently there was some inquiries from some of the vendors. Some would be happy to do that. So I have a resolution. Whereas the farmer's market regulations previously required vendors to pay a rent fee to the town in the amount of $25 per week. Whereas the town board wishes to make provisions for payment in full of fees for a 10% discount, they therefore be resolved as follows. Town board hereby approves and adopts the above change to the farmers market rules and regulations, which shall be effective as of July 1st, 2016, and authorize the market managers to notify all interested vendors of the change. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I just want to make sure that it's non-refundable. If there's a rain date or
Right.
anything, they don't get the money.
We operate rain or shine.
Okay.
So, that's it. Okay. Roll call.
Ms. Bunt? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes. Motion is carried. An issue has come to the town's attention regarding a proposal that's being made by the Coast Guard, and it's about moorings or anchoring of barges and basically commercial tankers along the Hudson. We're looking at 10 different sites, and it does raise a number of questions, in terms of issues with safety and the environment. So I have a resolution from the board requesting that basically they hold a public hearing to give the residents an opportunity to comment on their proposal. Whereas according to the Coast Guard website, the Maritime Association of the Port of New York, New Jersey Tug and Barge Committee, the Hudson River Port Pilots Association, the American Waterways Operators wish to establish 10 anchorage locations along the Hudson River that commercial tankers and tugboats would use as rest stops. Whereas these rest stops are and may be used by large commercial ships taking oil back and forth to Albany and or may be used long-term mooring points. Whereas said proposal would create health and safety, environmental and economic problems for Hudson River communities such as the town of Cornwall, now therefore be resolved as follows. Town board hereby authorizes supervisor to request the Coast Guard and or other appropriate authorities to hold a public hearing before any further action is taken or decisions made. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Bunt? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes. Motion's carried. Next item is on the Economic Development Advisory Committee mission statement. The board has been discussing this over the past couple of months. We met last week at our work session with an updated draft provided by Councilman Summerfield, and I think we got the latest draft, I think, yesterday afternoon with some of the changes that the board had requested last week. So, Michael, if you have to make any comments on.
We removed all of the language that we discussed at the work session with an additional minor change in the meetings description. We tried to make it as plain and simple as we could, and it pretty much mirrors the Conservation Committee's
Statement.
for the bylaws,
Yeah.
thank you. The mission statement reads in a similar fashion, but I think generally speaking, the document as it is very much similar to the CAC, and I hope everybody's pleased with the result.
We do have a couple of changes we are going to make in the Conservation Advisory, minor changes basically on meetings are run as a result of reviewing this.
Right.
So,
And we'll provide that at the work session.
okay. So, comments, thoughts?
Can we table this until we have it all sorted out and the attorney has a chance to review it?
I think, Steve, you haven't had an opportunity to review the latest draft?
I didn't get it until today. I think probably, I mean, it's almost, it's pretty certainly, and it's just about final form. There might be some tinkering with the language, but I think we're very close. It'd probably be a good idea to take that and pull the CAC mission statement too, and then next month just amend the CAC mission statement, approve this one, and then everybody's on the same page and there's no issues.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, motion table, second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Motion to table then will be brought up. We'll work on it at our work session. Under personnel, resignations, I have a letter from Kathy Elick. I've been honored to serve as appointed member of the Cornwall Conservation Advisory Committee for the past 7 years. Over the past years, I've enjoyed seeing our committee participate with the community, help celebrate annual Arbor Days with tree plantings, Route 218 cleanup, new tree saplings with trees, organize recycling and mass gatherings, and help event planners. Unfortunately, we're moving away and not able to continue as a member. Please accept this letter of resignation as a member of the committee. So I'd like to entertain a motion to accept Kathy's letter of resignation with regrets because we know that she's worked very hard on the projects. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Buck? Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Also, I have a memo from Chief Hazard regarding resignations. Attached for review, following resignations: Jeffrey Gold, part-time dispatcher; Jill Nye, part-time dispatcher; Nicole Bodette, part-time dispatcher; Kimberly DeSocio, full-time dispatcher. So, in a separate vote, Kimberly is requesting that she be retained as a part-time dispatcher. So I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the resignations as presented by the chief.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Ms. Buck? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
And Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. I'd like to entertain a motion to, I have a memo from Chief Hazard regarding a part-time dispatcher. Respectfully request the town consider hiring John Galimas, part-time dispatcher at the prevailing rate of $16.47 per hour. Mr. Galimas has an extensive work history in customer service and communications in the private sector. So I'd like to entertain a motion to appoint John Galimas and Kimberly DeSocio as part-time dispatchers.
Second.
Move, second, discussion, roll call.
Ms. Buck? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
And Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Another memo from Chief Hazard regarding part-time court attendant. Chief is recommending Harold Jones for a position of court attendant. Mr. Jones is very qualified. He's a New York State Corrections Officer for over 30 years and has strong ties to the area. Is there a motion to accept the chief's recommendation and appoint Harold Jones, court attendant?
So moved.
Second, discussion, roll call.
Ms. Buck? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Zoning Board of Appeals, we have 2 vacancies that we've interviewed for to fill, and I would entertain a motion. We had several applicants. And I think the names to be presented tonight are Deanna Walters and Cheryl Lee, both appointments to the planning board. And with that, if the board is in agreement, I would recommend that Deanna Walters be appointed to fill Ted Tobias's term, unexpired term, and that Cheryl Lee be appointed to appoint Bill Lee's unexpired term. Is there a motion to appoint?
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Bowden? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
And Ms. Renzo?
Yes, motion is carried. That takes care of the agenda items, but before we get to committee reports, I do want to address an issue that was brought up last month by Councilman Summerfield, and not being critical of people thinking outside the box. I mean, that's fine. You know, we all have that right and that opportunity. But unfortunately, what's been proposed on changing the name of the town of Cornwall to the town of Cornwall Hudson has created quite a stir among the residents for various reasons. And I think that given so many factors that it's certainly not something as a board member that I would consider pursuing. I've heard from a lot of residents over the past month. And one of the concerns is that, like, is the town board really going to do this? Are we going to wake up one morning reading the paper that the name of the town has been changed? And I want to assure them that if, in fact, any time in the future a name change of the community were to be proposed, it would not take just a stroke of the pen. There's an absolute process that would have to occur. But I also have to say that, you know, to change the name of the town of Cornwall that's been around for more than a couple hundred years is not something that anyone should take lightly. And the idea of changing the name as a marketing tool, to me, is, you know, a non-starter. There's a long and rich history that goes with the name of any community, and certainly in the town of Cornwall, we have a tremendous history that for decades and generations and centuries, people have been very proud of. You can't just throw away that name that goes with that history. It's been built on by so many people. And this is not something that should be taken as an issue that's going to divide new residents and longtime residents. I am third generation in Cornwall, but I can tell you that I've always been very welcome to people who have moved into the community, and in my 20 plus years of public service, very open to new residents, looking forward to working with them, listening to their ideas and views, because people come from different backgrounds and, you know, diverse thoughts and ideas, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they come in, and we see a lot of people that move into a community and right away they get involved in groups and organizations. They volunteer to do good things for the community. So this should not be looked at as, you know, the old versus the new. Cornwall is a unique community in many ways when you compare it with other towns in Orange County. You look at, for example, the town of New Windsor, town of Newburgh, they have a lot of economic development, and because of the size and the nature of the community, it's a much different setting than we have in Cornwall. In Cornwall, we're limited not by small thinking, but we're limited by the fact that we are a smaller community in several ways. One of the things that has, and this topic has come up in terms of the community and economic growth and development, and how do we move ahead and how do we keep things going. When you look at Cornwall and how the geography, the topography of the land is, we really are locked between two mountains, the Storm King Mountain and Scunnamunk Mountain, which takes a lot of the land off the table for any kind of economic type development in terms of business development. And you look at other areas of the town, And basically, I'm going to say 10 years ago, when we did the comprehensive plan, the town sort of drove a stake in the ground that said, we are going to preserve the open space west of Route 32 and try to retain as much of that character of the rural part of the community as we can. So when you look at the other side, the east side of Route 32 to the Hudson River, we're very limited. We have mostly residential. It's certainly a large commuter community, and our opportunities for commercial development are really limited by all those factors. The board is taking steps so that we don't stagnate. You know, we have to be able to be thinkers into the future and try to do everything that we can to keep us a viable community. And I think the community over the years has done that very well, because the underlying tone of all that is maintaining the character of Cornwall. That's why a lot of people have lived in Cornwall for many years and they stay in Cornwall. A lot of other people move to Cornwall because of the character of the community. And it's unique in many ways, and I think most people really recognize that. I think we're on to a good start with the Economic Development Committee by looking at the mission statement. We're not just looking for a committee in name, we're looking at a committee of thinkers who will be able to work in an advisory capacity with the town board to bring ideas to the table that we can look at and see which ones we can actually embrace and move forward with. So I think the bottom line here, I just want to put from my standpoint, many people's minds at ease in our community that we are not looking to change the town of Cornwall, period. There's been no indication from any large number of residents that that's the desire. We have a great community here. It's known as the town of Cornwall and been known of the town as the town of Cornwall for over a couple of centuries, and that's what we want to build on. So I just want to put that out there so that the community understands that this is not a town board initiative, and I certainly open it up for my fellow board members to comment on. But I've heard from so many people over the past month that this is not something that we want to leave out there hanging. It was an idea that Michael had, and we all have our opinions on it. So I'll open it up for any comment from board members.
I too have heard from a lot of people out there. It's petition time, so I've been out getting signatures, and that's one of the first things people say, are you changing the name of the town? Can you just do that? And I said, no, this was one board member brought it to the board, and we can't do it that way anyway. You would have to know there'd be public hearings. So I tried to do it, individually, but I think it's a good idea to put it out there that I myself, I'm not supportive of changing the name of the town of Cornwall. I don't see the village of Cornwall on Hudson economically thriving because they're the village of Cornwall on Hudson. So I don't know how the town of Cornwall on Hudson would change the economic growth of Cornwall. That's just me speaking, but that was my first thought when you introduced it. So I would like to express for the community that I have no desire to change the name of the town of Cornwall.
We celebrate our history. We just got done celebrating the restoration of Sands Ring. You mentioned Orange County. At one time, much of Orange County was actually part of Cornwall. And as late as the early part of the 1800s, the town of Highlands was part of the town of Cornwall. So to do away with the town of Cornwall and change it to something else would lose a great deal of our history.
Thank you.
So we shouldn't be afraid to discuss things. So
No.
I commend Michael for bringing an idea to the board, but that's what we need to be able to discuss things, and the community should respect the fact that we want to put ideas out there, have a discussion, whether we agree with them or not, but we should be able to bring ideas to the board. But as a resident of the village, I'm interested right at this point.
Okay.
Well, I thought it was a great discussion, and I really love the idea. I think it has a lot of merit. I recognized that it wasn't going to be embraced, However, I did also have great conversations with people that said, now this is one way of advancing a lot more discussions about the town that the town needs to have with itself. So I appreciate the opportunity to present it to you all, and I'd still like to work on it in the background. I'll just pass along information as it comes up. It had nothing to do with the Economic Development Committee. It was a specific proposal for myself to begin a dialogue of looking toward the future, and that I thought it was an excellent example of something that the town can do inexpensively and with great flourish and shocking well.
Shocking well. I thank you. And I will add to this that I know you had said it may be an aha moment, but it turned out not to be.
No,
Truthfully.
some other people.
You know, for some people it may be, but for other people it wasn't. But again, we respect your views, and you know, we're going to move on from here. So committee reports, Councilwoman Punt.
For the seniors, I have their calendar. They're pretty much status quo doing the things they do. We did meet with Valerie in that work session. It seems like she is really trying to provide a lot of services for the seniors. I think it's a good start for us to look at possibilities that maybe we could do some more. But you know, she does the shopping, the hotsy-totsies, they do their line dancing. They have a pretty full calendar, so just have to get it out there, I guess, to people. It seems like it's a little lack of participation right now, maybe, since
Well,
that eating program
Yeah,
changed, that has impacted the programs.
but I am going to actually have Valerie provide more detailed information to the board on an ongoing basis so that we really can take a look at our senior rec program and, you know, sort of analyze it in a sense to see how we can grow it and reach more seniors in any way that we can.
She comes to work at 7:30. And
Yeah.
I didn't know, you know, if the seniors need her at 7:30.
No, I think, well, that's why I'll be talking to Valerie this week,
Okay.
and just to get more information from her so the board has more to look at. And like I said, the goal is to try to
Maybe
reach
a
as many
different bus
seniors.
schedule,
Yeah, I mean,
something to get
we'll
them
see,
there.
once we know exactly how the programs are being run and how many people are involved, then we can decide, you know, if there's ways that we can grow it.
And Kovac,
Approximately 70 calls for the month.
okay. Other than that, there's been no progress with the contract.
Okay, so we will be, on the Kovac part of it, we certainly will be, again, contacting Kovac, because we really haven't heard much from Kovac with the contract, but we can't let, you know, this whole thing just go on without some resolution and some long-term commitment. So if you would pass that on to your officers and, you know, like to have some communication from them.
All right, we have a meeting tomorrow night, so.
Okay, if you would, I appreciate that.
No problem.
Helen, anything further?
No, but
Councilman Summerfield?
CAC did not meet this month, so I have nothing to report for them. And the Economic Development Committee meeting was concurrent with the special meeting last week, so there's nothing to report there.
Okay. Councilman Russell?
Came out for the sewer operations for Shore Road, routine maintenance. There was 3 responses to troubles in different lines that were serviced. One was unfounded. And then as far as measurable parameters, all within, very important, within permit limits. And then for First Cliff, it was routine maintenance and also all parameters were in permit limits. For the police department, I have statistical reports for the month of June. Calls for service, 803, motor vehicle accidents reported were 40. Alarms, both residential and business, were 41. There were 23 ambulance requests, 18 animal complaints, and 16 suspicious vehicles or persons, 40 house checks, and 21 assists of other agencies. I don't have a report from Recreation.
Okay.
I know we're working on the this month.
Yes.
Track down that leak.
Yeah, I think, actually, the good news is, we think that we've cut down the water loss in half on a daily basis by what we've done so far, so we're cautiously optimistic. Councilman McGinnis?
The assessor's office had a meeting last week with our consultants and other government officials and entities, and the schedule is set to have all of the data collected by the data collectors, with data entered along with the sales information entered by the middle of next month, which should put us on schedule to complete the assessment in the timeframe that we had set. The highway department, for the past month, hazardous trees removed several locations, 3 call-ins for trees down, cleaned up in all the ways. It's been very windy. Small drainage job, Garland Street, roadside mowing and weed eating, electronic day, town hall, handed out flyers for a new single-stream recycling program, patching in town, help sanitation department as usual, catch basin repairs, sweeping of streets, clean catch basins, and prepped and started the rain garden project at town hall. And as you had mentioned before, all reports show that the results of the single-stream recycling have been very positive. That's all I have.
So can I put it up the building?
Oh, go ahead.
From the building department, permits issued 28, CCs issued 17, COs 5, on-site inspections 73, complaints investigated 3, fire inspections 10, court appearances 1, signs removed 5, permit fees $5,513, permit renewal fees 50, fees for municipal search 3,600, court fines assessed 300. Planning board projects opened 5, zoning board 2. That's it.
Okay. I do want to just report on 2 things. I did meet with Mark Etzel and an architect they had from Bowie Housing Etzel, and we went up and took a look at the softball field. And we discussed the possibility of accessing and making a short driveway up to the level area and put a couple of handicap spots there, and then make it accessible from there. So they're going to put together a sketch and a cost estimate. I don't think there's anything we're going to have to work on now, because pretty much the season, I think, is over for Little League. But we'll get that information, we'll have it. But it looks like we may be able to do something that would accommodate. Then it would actually access I think it's the T-ball field as well as the girls softball field. So we'll see. And we also took a look at the site for the proposed historical museum building that we're considering. And the engineer's just going to put together some detail and maybe a general cost overview. My emphasis to them was inexpensive, and we're really looking for square footage. We're not looking for, a great building, but a good building that will house all the historic treasures that we do have and make it accessible to the public, but keeping the cost as low as we can and still providing the square footage that could make it a visitor and a tourist attraction for the community. Looking at possibly around 1,200 square feet, which is much bigger than the one room they have in the town hall currently, so that would be a plus. So they'll be getting back to us with that information. Okay, warrant number 7. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Meyer?
Yes.
Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Renzo?
Yes. Motion is carried. Public comment? Anyone wishing to speak on it? Any? Carla?
My name is Carla Castillo, and I reside at 69 Hasbrook Avenue. I wanted to comment on 2 things. It's great, I think it's great that the town is purchasing the recycling containers for residents. And I wanted to make a recommendation on that between the 2 choices, hopefully one of them will be largely have recycled content, be made from recycled content. It would be great if they were US made, and ideally the colors should be blue. That the color that's being used traditionally now. And then in terms of the new historic building, that's really exciting, and I hope that there'll be a temperature-controlled room so that all those lovely artifacts won't decay in our humidity. So,
Thank you.
that's great.
Anyone else, public comment? Tony?
I appreciated the comments that Richard made, Mr. Randazzo made for the town. His comments were spot on. That's one of the reasons when, long time ago, when I moved to Cornwall, why I decided to stay. I was visiting Majestic Weaving, the mill. I fell in love with the town. And I am 35 years, 40 years, more than that. Anyway, what I came to speak about tonight is taxes. Quite lovely subject. I'm giving Mr. Randazzo a copy of some information, which if the clerk's office will be so kind to make copies, I'd like to have all the board members have. And also, I believe Mr. Gaba, you have a copy because he's going to need his advice. One of my problems is that I've been trying to correct problems that came about in 1989 to when we had the Finnegan report, and I have not been able to do so. We have been told for so many years, that's what, 30 years now, that data was never used. Well, I'm in a situation now which problems that arose then are still in the paperwork in the assessor's office today. During Mrs. Bunt's administration, I was told to go to the SCA hearing. I went to the SCA hearing, and the then assessor, now Mr. Fiorentino, the assessor is no longer here, because I believe the town did not renew his contract, commit the perjury. Recently, I found all the paperwork that I can prove that. At that time, I did not have it. And 2 months later, he changed the information in the assessor's office. And I did ask Mr. Randazzo, I wanted to have a meeting, but I thought it was a little bit unfair. I'm giving you all the paperwork. Incidentally, I gave that to the assessment review board. I want the board and Richard to have a chance to look at it. Also, please consult with Mr. Steve Gaba, because he was also involved at the very beginning when I was trying to get some information from the assessor's office through a FOIL, and I was denied, and the clerk's office also was involved. But then, I don't want to make too much information public, because I think it would be unfair until you had a chance to look at it, and Mr. Gaba has a chance to review it, because there's some legal questions in there. Okay, and Richard, when you have time, when that is done, give me a call, and we'll have a meeting. And so that you know, it's getting a little bit contagious between the assessor's office and myself. I asked for a meeting with the assessor on June 4th, and they told me he was too busy. I thought, well, fine, not a problem. When you have a chance, give me a call. Today is, I believe, July the 11th. My phone has rung. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Anyone else? Oh, Ken.
When the data entry is finished in the assessor's office, is that when the inventories go out to the property owners?
Once the inventory is all put in, they'll generate data mailers, and the data mailers will go to all the property owners, so that, and that's an important part.
Sometime next month.
Don't know when, we're not sure, because they may send part of the mailers out,
Oh,
they may do them in stages.
As they complete areas of the data entry.
But I think they're talking at least when 50% of the data entry is done, they might do the first 50%. But on that point, we encourage the property owners to really take a look at the information on those data mailers when they get it, because If the information is not accurate, it certainly reduces the possibility of having an accurate assessment roll, the best that we can do on it. So we encourage the residents to look at that. Okay, now entertain a motion to go into an executive session for a closed session with the attorney to seek the advice of counsel.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Ms. Bunt? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes. Thank you. Motion is carried. We will not be taking any action.
So I can close.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you.